All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with the 49ers first round of cuts. But first, let's mention our sponsor. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket chili. Say hi to Damon, say hi to Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. All right. Well, the 49ers have made their first round of cuts. None of them are particularly surprising. They cut cornerback Nate Brooks, defensive end Ladarius Hamilton, who they just recently picked up, defensive end Breeland Speaks, who they also had recently picked up, Kaya Tazino, a linebacker from San Diego State, and a guy who I really had high hopes for going into camp, Spencer Wagee. Let's talk a little bit about the depth chart in those spots. Okay, first let's talk about Nate Brooks. So he gets cut on the corner. I think the Niners are going to go with 6 corners. They're going to go with Mooney Ward, Diamador Lenore, Isaiah Oliver, Samuel Womack, Ambry Thomas, and I think Deshaun Jameson. I think as we're sitting here, those are the 6 corners they're going to go with. They're going to put Darrell Luter Jr. on the PUP list to start the year. They're going to try to waive Quantrez Knight and re-sign him and put him on the practice squad. But those 6 corners, I really believe, are going to be their 6. Ward, Lenore, Oliver, Womack, Thomas, Jameson. So I think they're going with 6 corners, and they'll, as I said, Luter on the PUP would be corner 7. Quantrez on the IR or on the practice squad to start the year, he would be number 8. And I think that's where they'll roll as far as corner. All right, now let's go to the 2 D linemen they cut, Ladarius Hamilton and Breeland Speaks. They just recently picked these guys up, and they need more depth at defensive end. I mean, they have Drake Jackson, Cleveland Farrell, Kerry Hyder, Robert Beal Jr., Alex Barrett, and Austin Bryant. So they currently have 6 defensive ends, 7 if you count Nick Bosa. I think that they're probably going to go with 5. My guess is it will be Bosa, Jackson, and Farrell, and then Austin Bryant will be number 4. And then as far as that last spot, I kind of think that they're going to go from outside the organization. I think they'll go get somebody else. They'll either sign a veteran free agent or they'll sign somebody who's cut in somebody else's camp. They could go with Robert Beal, but I don't know if he's healthy. They could go with Hyder, but I don't know that he's going to give you enough of a pass rush. So I think it'll be Bosa, Jackson, Farrell, and Bryant. Those 4 guys. They could go with Alex Barrett, but my guess is there'll be somebody who's cut or somebody who's available via trade that will be better, and they will opt to go in that direction. So, and after having watched Ladarius Hamilton and Breeland Speaks, I didn't think Speaks was in very good shape. And as far as Hamilton, he just didn't look like he had that explosiveness that you're looking for off the edge. All right, let's go to the linebacker, Kaya Tazino. Tazino's an interesting guy. I liked him at San Diego State. He flies around, he makes plays. The Niners are just so loaded at linebacker. They're going to go with at least 5. And the 5 I would go with are Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Marcelino McCrary Ball, Jalen Graham, D. Winters. And so that means the 3 special teamers, Curtis Robinson, Oren Burks, and Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. I think only one of those guys makes the roster. And if I was going with one right now, I'd probably go with Flanagan Fowles. And I think Robinson gets cut and maybe put on the practice squad. I think Burks is a high likelihood of getting traded. So Tazino was always kind of on the outside looking in. There would have had to have been significant injuries for him to make this team. All right, let's go to Spencer Wagee. Wagee is a really nice player. He's got a tremendous motor. He played defensive end in college. He needs to play the game on his feet a little bit better. And I think they probably put him on the practice squad, but that I don't know if he gets all the way through. There's such a need for defensive linemen that he might not squeeze through. But the Niners are really, really deep at defensive tackle, even though they really still need another run plugger. I think Wagee is a practice squad guy strictly. And, like he's not as good as any of the other guys. I like what I've seen from Wagee this summer as far as his motor. But Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Kevin Givens, Javon Kinlaw, T.Y. McGill, Kalia Davis, Marlon Davidson. I mean, you got 7 interior guys there that are in front of Wagee. So he just got caught up in a numbers game. I think he'll be on the practice squad because you can never have enough good defensive linemen, and I think they really like him as a prospect. He played defensive end at North Dakota State. He's been a defensive tackle in this camp, and they probably just want to give him some more time to get used to playing defensive tackle. But I would expect he'll be on the practice squad. So there you go. Those are the cuts. Now, as far as the other players, cut early, there have been a couple of players that have been cut early on other teams that are interesting. Here are the early cuts that I saw that are kind of interesting. Kenyon Drake, the running back, cut. Jalen Mayfield, an offensive tackle, was cut. Rajon Wright, who was on that Last Chance U show, played at Oregon State. He was cut. Joe Reed, a running back wide receiver who's got some talent from Virginia, he was cut. Derek Deese's kid, who played at San Jose State, Derek Deese Jr., the tight end, he got cut. Logan Stenberg, a guard from Kentucky, who's a real tough, hard-nosed player, he got cut. O.J. Howard was cut by the Raiders. The Rams cut Richard LeCounte, a safety. And one guy that I could definitely picture the Niners picking up from the early round of cuts and putting him on the practice squad when it's all the dust settles after the cut down on Tuesday is Ian Book. Ian Book was in the Eagles camp this summer, so you could steal a little intel from them. He's also went to Oak Ridge High School in El Dorado Hills. He's a NorCal guy, went to Notre Dame. He might be the perfect practice squad quarterback this year for the 49ers. And I could definitely see them going after Ian Book as a practice squad quarterback, for the year. They've got 3 on the roster, obviously, right now, and we don't know if they're going to carry 3 because Shanahan didn't confirm that Brandon Allen will indeed be on the roster. He may not be on the roster. But you've got Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, and if you want Brandon Allen, and they probably will have a 4th quarterback that they'll keep on the practice squad. And if you told me that it was Ian Book from Notre Dame, I would say, you know what? That sounds about right. That sounds like something they would do. So there you go. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to all of our sponsors, most notably Pig and a Pickle. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.